Joining me now for another segment to help parents and teens find a better way through with each other is Allie Payne. And today we're going to talk about your teens' mental health and primarily how it's not all in their head.
This is so difficult for parents because we knew our child when they were, say, 8 to 10, and they were happy, relatively speaking, and they were compliant, relatively speaking, and they probably had some friends, introvert, extrovert, some friends, and they did pretty well in school. And now they're a teenager. And it's like, and they're saying, they're anxious and they're stressed and they're all of these different things. And it's like, well, what, why can't you just be that kid that I knew? Like, what's your problem? What it's just in your head. What's going on with you? I am here to tell you that is probably one of the most invalidating things that our teenagers can hear. I understand as a parent when you're looking at your teenager, because you're with them every day and you see them in and out, you go like, kind of like, give them a little smack in the face, like, yeah, get over it. Come on now. Because your life is really busy too. I need to tell you the truth is the child you are standing in front of right now, the teenager, is not the child who was the happy, compliant 10-year-old. They are not. They had this thing called the pituitary gland and it blew up in their brain. And that inherently makes them different. I don't know how you feel when you're having your worst day or just really struggling. And if someone came up to you and said, oh my gosh, snap yourself together, it's all in your head. Come on, let's go. How are you feeling?
Right. And to be fair, sometimes that sort of motivation would work for me and other times it wouldn't. But
Yes.
with a teen in particular, one of the best ways or things I've ever heard about a teenager and the way their mind works is that it's like they are driving a sports car with no brakes.
Yes.
And that's what their brains are doing right now. And so it's easy for us as adults, obviously, to look at what they're doing with our very adult developed brain and forget that they don't have those tools quite yet.
No. And I want to speak directly right now to anxiety. So I have anxiety and it runs in my family. My son is diagnosed anxiety. I want to give you a sense for a minute of, even though you may not understand or feel that your teenager is dramatizing things, particularly from anxiety, let me explain to you for a minute. Let's say you're in your room putting your clothes away and your partner or your child, someone walks in unexpectedly and scares you. Like, that's startling, like, and for a few seconds after you realize, okay, someone walked in the room, all right, the world is not ending, your heart is still beating really quickly. And in the nanosecond it took you to realize you were not at risk of dying, because that's what it feels like sometimes being startled. Let's say that's a 10. Let's say the being startled moment, that moment of terrifying, is a 10. I want you to dial that back to about a 7. And now I want you to imagine living that level of fear 24/7. Please understand that is not dramatized. That is anxiety. Anxiety, the definition is that it is prolonged, sustained worry. I have felt that. I have lived that. Literally fight or flight at a low level 24/7. When you walk up to someone who's living in a heightened level of fear, although you can't always see it because it happens inside, and tell them it's all in their head and to shape up? So we just need to be cautious. We just need to understand. And with depression, it's like having your worst day where all those inner, like, itty bitty crappy club messages in your head, they're going at a volume, say if 10's the max, they're going at about a 5 or 6. And they're going all the time. It's not something you can shake off. Our teens are not necessarily being dramatic, and that motivation may not work. The only way you're going to find out is being in conversation with them, by validating them, even if you don't understand it, and that's okay, by being there for them to understand that this person you're seeing in front of you is being honest, they're being true, they're being real, and they are not the person that you knew before. And we need to move away from that.
So when a parent identifies anxiety or depression with a child, two things I actually want to bring up. The
Okay.
first is what's the first thing you should do once you've established that that is what's going on, uh, because
Right.
we're not all equipped to help them deal with that.
No, no, for sure. Even if you've dealt with it in your own life, it's still different for you than it would be for them. So most definitely seek help. That could be a school counselor. It might be that you have a parent who is a counselor or a coach, or you might need to seek something outside of that. Sometimes there's really great books that they would prefer to read, but definitely not ignoring it and doing nothing. Pursue it at a level where your teen is comfortable, and they still might not be, but you're going to get them some version of help, and then see where you go from there. Then reevaluate, but you got to be in conversation about it.
Okay, so the second part of that is, teenagers are almost naturally antagonistic, and even though
Yes.
you've said, okay, fine, I admit it, there's an issue, there's a problem, let's get you some help, and they say, no, I don't need
Mm.
any.
Yeah. So that's such a wonderful point. When they say that, I'm going to tell you right now, because I've been that teenager. I was a teenager who was supposed to go and talk to the school counselor every day and spill my guts. And I said a big fat hell no with a hand. Do you know why? Because I had no connection to that school counselor. She wasn't a bad person, but I just never would have chosen her. I didn't feel safe with her. And I wasn't given an opportunity to feel safe with anybody. It was like it was forced on me. And so defensiveness came up. And so I would say, first of all, instead of saying to your teenager, that's it, we're going to go get you help, we need to fix this, very different energy than saying, I'm sorry you're going through this. I love you. I don't understand. And you are so important to me. I want to help you. What does help look like to you? Help them to empower to be part of the solution, as opposed to feeling like they're being wrong and judged and now they're in trouble. So that's a different energy around it. And it might take 10 counselors. Let them pick, because if I feel unsafe with you, there is no way I'm going there with you to talk about my anxiety.
Okay. Well, Allie, I think we could talk about this one forever. Let's face it, anxiety and depression are huge right now. So we're going to talk about this, I feel, probably again. But in the
Yes.
meantime, if parents want to connect with you for more great advice, where can they find you?
Best site is on my website, www.alliepayne.com, on Instagram or TikTok at alliepayne. Message me. We'll go from there.
Okay, amazing. Thank you, Allie.
Thank you.